Welcome everyone to another bonus video, and this time around I'm showing off my PlayStation 4 collection. This is the second time I've done this. If you've seen the previous one, you're going to see a lot of the same games, but I wasn't happy with that video. It's way too dark. I talk way too much about each individual game. I'm going to try to speed things up a little bit with this video, but the collection's even bigger now than it was about a year ago when I did that last PS4 collection video. Like before, I did not pay full retail price on everything here. A lot of these I did get on sale, Black Friday sales, buy two get one frees, used games, eBay, Amazon, flea markets, all that kind of good stuff is great ways to help you build up a collection. I collect all video games. I've just been really big into the PlayStation 3 and PS4, with the PS3 being my second biggest collection, and PS4 is slowly creeping up into like the top 5 as far as consoles go for game collections that I currently have. So, anyway, without further ado, let's get to the games. I'm going to start off on the right side of the table here, and then I'm going to be moving box and stacks and stacks and stacks as we go through this. So, anyway, first up is the Lego Batman 3. This is Beyond Gotham. This is the one that came with the bonus keychain in it. I actually never got a chance to play through this. I have a sealed copy because I already had it digitally for the Life is Strange PS4. This is the limited edition that they did as a physical release, along with a few bonus features like the soundtrack, art book, and such. Life is Strange is one of my favorite PS4 games. I loved it last year playing through it episodically, but it's really cool. If you haven't had a chance to play it, and you like the Telltale kind of games, there's a little bit more interaction in it than the Telltale series. If you like time manipulation types of storylines, Life is Strange may be for you. Here is the Final Fantasy X/10-2 Collector's Edition. This came with a desktop calendar, one of the worst collector's editions I have. I actually bought this one night after a long night of drinking, and I bought it on Amazon before it came out. Bad decision. Never drink and buy games, or buy anything while drinking, because you'll lead to having a desktop calendar collector's edition of FF10 and 10-2. Here is the collector's edition of Infamous Second Son. I may have the box by itself somewhere else within these collections, but this was the bonus one that came with a few extra things. I really did like the handprint design for the boxes on both this and the regular like case box for it. But anyway, pretty cool. Good game. Little Big Planet 3, the plush edition. This came with the Sackboy plush, and as well as a few other DLC kind of things with it, but there you go. Little Big Planet 3 wasn't as good as the previous games in the series, but still a pretty cool game. As you can see at the front here, which they're going to pretty much remain, I have the starter packs for both Skylanders Trap Team as well as the Skylanders Swap Force, which thankfully I did not pay anywhere near full price. With these kind of special starter packs, I usually end up waiting until the starter pack goes really low. Eventually, usually before the new Skylanders comes out, they end up dropping the price on the previous starter packs by a great deal. If you're interested at all, they're kind of cool little boxes. They take up a lot of room, obviously, like most of the game collection does, but still, they're kind of cool. Over here, I have my Tales of Zestria Collector's Edition for the PS4. This is the one that came with the 8-bit retro keychains, the chibi figure set, as well as the steelbook, the game, of course. The art book is in here as well as a smaller art book. But a nice little package on of having like a cube kind of set up. Everything is nicely packed and tight in there, so cool collector's edition. Over here as well is my Doom 4 Collector's Edition, which I actually did an unboxing for it on my YouTube channel. You can search for that and check it out if you want to see the Revenant statue in all of its glory. It also came with a special steelbook. I did actually a full review for Doom as well on the channel if you wanted to see that. Doom is a great, great game. I really loved playing through that. So, now I'm going to move Doom and Tales of Zestria to the floor here, as we now are going to start on pile number 1. Starting off with the Senran Kagura Estival Versus. This is technically the limited or collector's edition of the game. It was a bit more expensive than I think it was digitally, but this was like the day one version of the game, which came with the soundtrack as well as trading cards and an art book in as well. Really good game. I did a review for it. If you like this kind of hack and slash game, you don't mind the gratuitous amounts of fan service, then it's definitely worth checking out the game and the entire series as a whole. Next, right away we're into one of my rarest, if not the rarest, most expensive PS4 game in my collection, which is Retro City Rampage. This was not released in stores at all. In fact, the barcode, there is no barcode. It's 000 for the barcode. I love the packaging for the game itself, which has the Sega Master System-esque artwork on it. This also has like the smallest amount of data for a Blu-ray disc, which I talked about in the previous collection video. It's going for around 70 now, which actually one game, which should be in here somewhere, has actually overtaken it currently, but game prices, especially for a current gen system, are nowhere near concrete by any means, so 10 years from now, who knows what will be the most expensive PlayStation 4 release. Speaking of limited releases, here is one of the newest ones, one of the newest games in my collection, actually. This is the boxed copy from Limited Run Games for Octodad. I got it over the weekend. I didn't have a chance, unfortunately, to unbox it, but here you go. This is Limited Run Games Octodad, Deadliest Catch, which is a fun little game if you've never played it, where you control the limbs, and it's one of those really oddball kind of wacky physics type games, similar to like your Goat Simulator or the old PC browser game Quap, kind of like that. But the fact that they did a physical release for it recently was the reason, of course, that I picked it up. I love limited run games. I've talked about them before. Unfortunately, I've missed out on a few purchases from them just because of financial reasons, and now they're kicking out a whole bunch of these limited games. So if you're interested in PS4 collecting, you probably already have heard of limited run games, but be sure to go to their website or search it in Google. You'll come right to it. Here's the actual box for the Final Fantasy X and X-2. It wasn't in that collector's box. Next up is Godzilla, the PS4 version. I actually imported the PS3 version from Japan. This is an okay game. It gets monotonous way too quickly. Lego Jurassic Park, the most recent Lego game that I've actually played all the way through. I did find it cool that they included, of course, all the movies in it, and there's a lot of really cool stuff if you're a Jurassic Park fan, but it's still the same typical Lego games with lots of collectibles, lots of side quests, and having to replay levels many, many times because you don't have the right characters or right abilities to go through things. This is one of our favorite games to play, especially after a night of drinking. This is UFC 2. It is, of course, an MMA game from EA. It's a lot of fun, has a cool career mode. It needs to be fleshed out a bit more for my liking. You can play as a male or female fighter now in it and create both, and it's a really fun combat sport game, especially, like I said, get a bunch of guys together, people together that are drinking, you'll probably have a blast playing it. Literally the newest game I just got, Star Ocean. This was actually sent to me by Lance and Nancy. Thank you guys very much for, once again, for getting that for me. But this is the Day 1 edition, Star Ocean Integrity and Faithlessness. One of the, I'm sorry, stupid titles. Japanese RPGs sometimes have weird, dumb titles, and that's instead of it being Star Ocean 5, or it's technically a side game, I've heard. I don't know. Either way, I've only put about 3 hours into it. I'm very much enjoying it. I like some of the characters, design and stuff. Cool game. The Day 1 edition came with some bonus content, DLC, battle background music, actually from Valkyrie Profile 1 and 2. So that was kind of a cool little bonus DLC with that. My favorite game of last year, and probably my favorite game of this entire system generation, Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt. This is my steelbook that came with my collector's edition, which came with the giant Geralt fighting the Griffin statue, if you've ever seen it. I have it, the big box for it over there. There's so many boxes for collector's edition, I always keep them. They just end up being put with other boxes and stuff, so if I ever want to put everything together, I still have it, most of the stuff right there. But Witcher 3, if you like a Western RPG, it is one of the most, it's one of the most mature RPGs, and I'm not just talking about like the gratuitous sex scenes or anything like that. It takes RPGs to like a mature level, much more so than some other RPGs or JRPGs a lot of times will end up doing. Only games similar that did anything close to me was like Dragon Age Inquisition or any of the Dragon Age games, but Witcher 3 superior in every way, for me personally at least. Here is the physical copy for the Back to the Future, the game. This was the PS4 release that came out 2 years ago now at this point. I'm not sure when it got re-released, but anyway, here it is. A great game from Telltale, very similar to their other ones. It's one of the first from Telltale in that recent resurgence with this, and then The Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us and those kind of things, so very cool game. Here's the box for the Lego Batman 3. Rayman Legends. I love both Rayman Legends and Rayman Origins. Great platformers, multiplayer, a lot of fun. Makes it easier multiplayer. Worth checking out if you've never played it. Tearaway Unfolded. I have actually not personally played this version of the game yet. This is the PS4, obviously PS4 edition. I'm not sure if this was a true sequel or a modified version of the original that was released on the PlayStation Vita. It's made by the same people that made Little Big Planet, but it's a different kind of game and one of the standout titles for the Vita, but I haven't had a chance to play the PS4 version of the game. One of my favorite fighters for the system, Mortal Kombat 10. This came with my Amazon exclusive Collector's Edition, which came with the Scorpion statue. It's more of the classic Scorpion statue than what the regular Collector's Edition ended up coming with. For whatever reason, it was an Amazon exclusive. It was like $10 more or something at the time. But either way, very cool. I love Mortal Kombat 10. Wasn't a big fan of like the DLC characters. I wanted more Mortal Kombat characters instead of like horror movie stuff. Next up is Nitro Blasters. Busters. This is a compilation anime fighter with anime characters from like Super Sonico. There's a few other animes that my brain, of course, completely froze on for what ones that are in here. Fate Stay Night is another one included, and a few other ones from visual novels from the company. It's similar to Aquapazza, and there's another one just like that. It came out on PlayStation 3. But anyway, cool little game. I actually did a full review for this one on the channel. Next up, GTA 5, one of my favorite games of the last generation of consoles, and then was remastered, ported over to the PS4, that at the first-person perspective. This is my favorite personal version of the game because of the added little bits of things. It ran better, it was smoother. Great, amazing game, and the online is taken off to the point that I'm not even sure if they'll make a regular Grand Theft Auto anymore because of how successful Rockstar's been with the online. Here's the box for Senran Kagura Estival Versus with a reversible cover. It actually came with two different covers. The physical copy for Resident Evil 6, which was released digitally as well, as a $20 release. Same goes for the physical, thankfully only $20. In fact, Resident Evil 5's physical version comes out next week. Unfortunately, it did not launch at the same time it did digitally. RE6, though, came out digitally and physically on the same day. The physical copy for RBI Baseball 2016. It plays similar to the old ones, but just didn't have the same nostalgia for me. MLB The Show 16, the newest MLB game. I'm a huge fan of baseball, of course, and this was the newest MLB The Show game. Here is the PAL version of Infamous First Light, which was released digitally only here. It's a standalone spin-off of Infamous Second Son. Very cool game. I actually, not too long ago, platinumed it. It's pretty fun. It's very, very short for what it ended up being. It wasn't like a full-blown, full-release title or anything, but still pretty cool. A game I played earlier this year and did a review for, Republic. It's a stealth game where you're actually not really controlling the main character as much as you are controlling a series of cameras and having to position things and set off diversions and all in order to get your character through the game. It's pretty cool. It has a good story. It started off as a phone game, but then was ported to Steam, and then eventually PS4. One of the coolest things about it is the collectibles in the game are actually like all little indie games. Like you'll find stuff for like Nuclear Throne and other games, indie releases as little bonus collectibles. Next up is Alekine's Gun. Dang, can I talk today? Alekine's Gun. Another stealth game, kind of a discount budget Hitman title. Not very good. If you really love the old style of Hitman games, the PS2 era of Hitman, it may be worth checking out if you like that kind of thing, and you can get it for a really cheap price, but it's just okay at best. Ratchet & Clank, this is the remake of the first game that was actually based on the film version of it. Very fun, still a lot of fun. Actually, I've heard people like this much better than the movie. Haven't seen the movie yet still, but very fun. If you love the Ratchet & Clank games, another great addition. Tiny Troops Joint Ops Zombie Edition, just another one of those obscure budget released. Play It is the publisher on this. They published a few other games we'll see in here, including Pure Pool, Pure Chess, and Stick It to the Man. They basically are one of the budget publishers for the PS4, which I still like because at least they're getting a physical release for some of these games. The PAL version of This War of Mine, The Little Ones. I loved This War of Mine on PC. I didn't play this version of it that is basically an expansion much more so than its own standalone sequel or anything like that. The original release for this War of Mine did not get a PS4 release, digitally or physically, but this version did. It's digital only in the US, but did get a European physical release. The Wolf Among Us, another great game from Telltale. Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I actually really like this game. It was a lot better and a big step up from Unity. A lot of fun. I really like the Jack the Ripper DLC in it. Earth Defense Force 4.1 Shadow of New Despair. I did a review for this back in December, I want to say. This game is awesome. A lot of stupid B-movie fun. It's like a Starship Troopers video game, basically. You're blasting giant bugs. It's basically a port, though, of the... Or not a port, a remastering of the PS3 Earth Defense Force game. So if you played all the way through that, you may not want to check it out, but if you've never checked out Earth Defense Force, if you can get this relatively cheap and have someone to play along with you, this is a lot of really stupid fun, and there's a lot of missions to conquer. Also one of the potentially hardest trophy lists on all of the PS4. This is Aegis of Earth. It's a strategy game. Unfortunately, just when it came out with all the other stuff coming out, I haven't had a chance to play through it myself personally. But it's definitely is a strategy game where you're developing your city and having to protect your city and take out your enemies. Unfortunately, like I said, I haven't actually got a chance to play it myself. The very disappointing Street Fighter V. I like the collector's edition that I got with it because the Ryu statue is cool. But wasn't extremely well made. I have had problems with it consistently falling over on me. In fact, it now gets held up in order to stay up. But either way, they've now finally added the story mode to it, which I haven't played yet. But at launch, honestly, for me personally, Street Fighter V just was a bit of a disappointment. Woo! 1 stack done. Next up, Wolfenstein New Order. Both this and Old Blood, well worth your time. Great reboots from Bethesda and from id, and just really, really cool stuff. I love this, and I love Doom, and now they're doing Quake as well, so. Saints Row 4, including the re-elected version of Saints Row 4 and the Gat Out of Hell, which was my biggest problem was that the Gat Out of Hell was a DLC code only. Interestingly enough, Gat Out of Hell is actually free this month on PlayStation Plus. Love Saints Row, though. Love the whole series. Shadow Warrior, this was a reboot to the Shadow Warrior first-person shooters from the 90s. I still have not gotten a chance to play it. There is a sequel coming, and it's actually coming relatively soon, I think. Lord of the Rings Shadow of Mordor, a really cool game for when it came out. It was kind of Lord of the Rings meets Assassin's Creed, so it was stealth, but you're taking out orcs and all this kind of stuff, and there was some really cool stuff with it. I never personally played it myself, watched people play it. Here's that Stick It to the Man I mentioned earlier, just another budget release that ended up getting a release from Play It. Thief for PS4, a game that I actually personally did end up enjoying, but a lot of people hated it, which I completely understood. Extremely stealth, no action really, like you're not killing enemies at all like Assassin's Creed or Metal Gear, it's pure stealth. Trials Fusion, I recently actually played Trials of the Blood Dragon, which was kind of a standalone spin-off to Trials. But the Trials Fusion games in general are a lot of fun, especially multiplayer, which unfortunately Trials of the Blood Dragon isn't, but still very cool motorcycle games. Walking Dead Season 2, which has my copy of Walking Dead Season 1 in it, because I mentioned this in my previous collection video. I got the wrong case when I got the wrong game in the case when I bought it at GameStop. Bought a second copy of Season 2, so I have 2 Season 2 boxes, but I have a Season 1 and a Season 2 disc. Lords of the Fallen, a third-person RPG. I never actually got around to playing it myself. Once again, another game that I kind of watched others play. Madden 15 and Madden 25, 2 of the latest Madden games, but not the newest one. Either way, they're Madden. You know what Madden is by now. My Japanese copy of Onichimbara Z2 Chaos. I have the English version sitting around here in one of these piles as well. Here's the other Walking Dead. This is the Season 2 disc in here, but it's with the Season 2 box. EA's UFC 1. Never played this one. Played the second one. Like I said, a lot of fun. I'm sure the first one's similar though. The physical release for Team 17's Worms Battlegrounds did not get a physical release. I don't think so in North America. So another one of those PAL releases. Motorcycle Club, motorcycle game that I've never played. Putty Squad, which I got at a Black Friday sale. Pretty cool little puzzle game. And you can probably get it dirt cheap, even cheaper than I paid for that. Now this is Gale Gun 2. This is the Japanese version. The English release, which I'll also be getting, comes out in 2 weeks, I think. It's a rail shooter where you're shooting schoolgirls and making them fall in love with you or whatever. Has some gratuitous fan service to it, but it is what it is. This is the Japanese release. I did not think this game was getting a North American release, or else I wouldn't have imported it. Stupid me. Next up, Monopoly Family Fun Pack. Cool. It's Monopoly. It has some various versions. You can do a customizable board. God of War 3 Remastered, a good remastering of a great God of War game. That new trailer for that new one at E3 blew me away. I can't wait to play that. As there's a fly. Yay, fly. Thank you, fly. Duck Dynasty. I have a platinum in this. I don't know why I still bought it, but I bought it the day it came out, because I am stupid sometimes. But Duck Dynasty. Okay, that pile done. Mad Max, I was disappointed a little bit by this game. I wish there was a bit more to it. It drags at times, and there's some artificial limits of before, like you have to do certain side quests and some dumb side content in order to advance the story. But as a Mad Max fan, it was still a lot of fun, and if you can get it cheap and you like open world games or like the Mad Max franchises in general, cool, and still a ton better than the old NES Mad Max game. One of my most disappointing and best games of last year, Metal Gear Solid 5. I have said a lot about this game in my review. If you want to check out more about that, it is what it is. NHL 15 and NBA Live 15, both EA Sports games. I got these really cheap when they priced lowered on them. I never play NBA Live. I'm always a 2K guy. But it's funny enough, I don't actually have a physical release for any of the 2Ks. Oh, maybe I have 2K14, but I don't have 2K15 or 2K16. On PS4 physical, but anyway, NBA Live and NHL 15. Speaking of which, here's that copy of NBA Live that I bought for $1 or $2 a few years ago now. NBA Live 14, there's the physical release for that. Blood Bowl 2, a very fun tactical football-style game. It's not like a typical football game. It's based on a tabletop game, but very cool. I did a review for that back in September. Nobunaga's Ambition for the PS4. I actually was supposed to have my copy of Romance of the Three Kingdoms today. That would have been a part of this video, but it's similar to that. It's a strategy game all about Japanese history. I love this game. I love the series that it's from and all that. Well, I love the series. Unfortunately, the reason why I never got a chance to really dive as much into this one as I would have liked was just that it was a one-player game only. One of the fun things I like about some of the Koei Tecmo strategy games is you can play a multiplayer usually. Here's Dragon Quest Heroes. This is the Japanese release. I have the US release in here as well. I actually bought this the day it was announced to come to the US. I imported this, so stupid mistake once again. I just didn't think it was actually going to come here because it's been they had some really bad Dragon Quest releases as of late. Samurai Warriors 4 Empires, and what I mean is not releasing them here, not that the games were bad. Samurai Warriors 4 Empires. That's the newest, I think, Samurai Warriors game in my collection. Here is a sealed copy of Hyperdimension Neptunia 7. Unfortunately, I just never got around to playing it. I played some of the older Hyperdimension Neptunia games. They're pretty fun, and I do like them. Arslan Warriors of Legend. This game, playing it co-op 2-player, was a broken mess. It froze and crashed constantly, and they haven't patched it since. But anyway, it's a Dynasty Warriors style game based on the anime Arslan Warriors of Legend, which I have never personally seen. One of the main characters in the game is named Ferengus, which became a running joke because it sounds like some kind of venereal disease. Here is the physical release for Assassin's Creed Chronicles that comes with India, China, and Russia all together, all three of the games, one disc. They released them individually, digitally. Here it is. Here is now the, quote, rarest, most expensive PS4 game, at least current market-wise, Saturday Morning RPG. This was the second release from Limited Run Games, and now it's going for quite a hefty price, unfortunately. But I did a full unboxing for this if you want to see more about it on the channel. And a pretty cool game for what it is as well. Steelbook for Doom 4, and the Steelbook for MLB The Show 15. I think I showed MLB 16 earlier, MLB 15. This is the one that came with a special anniversary edition. Came with some download content as well. The Steelbook for Fallout 4. Kung Fu Panda, The Showdown of Legendary Legends. an okay Smash clone that just did not have nearly enough content to keep me interested. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5, a game that got murdered with reviews. I did a full review as well for it. I actually don't think it's as bad as it was. The worst thing about it is the fact that the disc itself only has a small bit of data on it. In fact, only the demo for the game, and you actually have to download a huge 7 or more gigabyte patch, 17 gigabyte patch, something ridiculous, in order to even have the full game on your system. And that's the joke about the whole thing. It did have a lot of issues, but they patched a lot of the problems that ended up happening with it. Book of Unwritten Tales 2. I never got around to playing it, but another one of those more obscure physical releases you don't see all that often. Dragon Quest Heroes, here's my US release, which is actually similar in box art to the Japanese version, but this is the US one. This is the day one edition of that. Madden 2016. I knew I had Madden 16 laying around here. I buy Madden every year. I'm one of those people. Disgaea 5, Alliance of Vengeance. Great Disgaea game. One of my favorites. It is right up there, 1, 4, and this are probably my absolute favorites, but still very, very cool game if you like tactical RPGs. Dishonored Definitive Edition, unfortunately, still haven't gotten around to playing it. I want to play it before the new one comes out, but it's a cool game from everything I've seen about it. In fact, you can summon a plague of rats. That's cool enough for me. Rock Band 4, very disappointed by the initial release. I'm sure they patched it and fixed it up by now. There was a lot of problems at launch with DLC and such, but still Rock Band, if you like that kind of thing. Cabela's African Adventures, this was a very poor game. I did a first play for it on my channel a long time ago. Not worth your time, but that's to be expected. No one's going to look at that and think that's going to be a great game. One Piece Pirate Warriors 3, this is the third of the Dynasty Warrior style One Piece games. I had a lot of fun playing this with my friend Brian on my Twitch stream when it first came out. It's a lot of fun, even if you're not a One Piece person, because I don't really know much about One Piece outside of a lot of the games that I've played over the course of the last few years, mostly with him, so it's still very, very fun if you like Dynasty Warrior games, and if you're a One Piece fan, it's definitely worth checking out. Digimon, this is Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, which I fortunately didn't get around to playing it, but I heard a ton of amazing things about it. Finally, there's a newer Digimon game that's actually really good, and it's a console release. The last Digimon games before that were really good were on 3DS. Just Cause 3, this is the Day 1 edition. It came with a couple little extra bonus DLCs or whatever. Really fun game, but marred with horrible slowdown. Oh, sorry, horrible slowdown and load times. I think most of that's been patched, but that was when I played it, which was when it came out. Lego, the movie, the video game. I never played it, based on the Lego movie, of course. Very typical of Lego games. Pretty standard fare. The physical release for Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. I actually played through this on PC. Pretty sure it was on PC. Now I can't remember. Either way, very, very cool game. It uses both sticks to control two different characters at one time. It's a cool story that goes along with it. Some great scenery throughout. It's a relatively short game, too. It actually doesn't have a platinum, unfortunately. Project Cars, I did not pay full price for this. I think this was a buy two, get one free kind of deal. I'm not a car person at all, but Amazing Spider-Man 2, which, okay, once again, that new Spider-Man game, cannot wait to get my hands on it when it finally does come out. It was okay at best, but oh man, there was some glitchiness. Bloodborne, I'm not a huge fan of any of the Dark Souls, Demon Souls, those style of games, but Bloodborne was the coolest looking to me when it first came out. Had terrible load times, which I've heard they've patched, but still. Dragon Age Inquisition from BioWare. I actually have the Inquisitors edition, which was a GameStop exclusive, I think. Way too expensive for what you ended up getting out of it, but still, it was okay. I only got so far. I wasn't able to actually finish the story outright. Wolfenstein: The Old Blood. This was the standalone DLC for standalone Wolfenstein: The New Order. But anyway, really good game. Definitely worth checking out. For the physical release. In fact, I actually have two physical releases, and this got a US release, though I ended up buying the PAL release because we weren't supposed to get it. Unfortunately, sometimes when you buy something and then you're waiting and then boom, all of a sudden as soon as I buy them, they announce a physical here. Next up is Air Combat Vietnam. It's a helicopter game. Has some pretty easy trophies, but some of the trophies require online play, which is one of the main reasons why I have never actually played through the game. I'm not a online trophies and stuff, just, at best with me. Alien Isolation, very cool game that unfortunately I never got around to playing personally. Watched some people play it. The abomination of the Assassin's Creed universe, Assassin's Creed Unity. I don't think it's as bad as some people say, but it's still not very good at all. Bound by Flame, another Western-style RPG that unfortunately I never got a chance to play. Watched people play it though. Call of Duty Ghost, Call of Duty, enough said. Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishment, another mystery-style game. It's actually pretty fun from what I've heard. Haven't been able to play it personally. Dead or Alive 5 Last Round. Fun fighting game, the definitive version of Dead or Alive 5. The DLC, though, for that game is ridiculous. They're still releasing some DLC, I think, for it. Devil May Cry, this is the Collector's Edition, Definitive Edition, remastered from the PS3. I played through it on PS3, never got around to playing the PS4 version, though, for it. Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse, I'm very much looking forward to the sequel. It's kind of like a faux MMO. You get to create your own Dragon Ball character from various different races and go through the timeline like you're saving the DBZ timeline. Still, one of the best Dragon Ball games in a long time. The Evil Within, this was the day one or whatever edition that came with the slipcover. I don't know if every version came with the slipcover or not, but I have a lot of issues with that game. I've talked about it at length before. Far Cry 4. Loved Far Cry 4, love Blood Dragon, love Primal. I love all of them. Here is the infamous Second Son actual box that I showed a little bit earlier. Okay, next pile. Oh god, it fell. No surprise. If you're watching this, I applaud your stamina of being able to sit here and watch this entire ordeal. Next up, we're going with this is my Dead or Alive 3 Extreme. Dead or Alive Extreme 3 Collector's Edition. This is, of course, the Asian version, which is actually also in full English for menus and such. And this is the box for it. It was sitting out, so I decided to pull this one in. It actually comes with a mouse pad as well. There's an unboxing for it on my channel if you're fully interested in seeing all of that. Okay, next up, Far Cry Primal. Once again, I love the Far Cry series. I did enjoy it. Some people said it was a little lackluster for what it was. Maybe it was a little bit too lackluster for a full price release, but for the most part, I still had a lot of fun with it. One Piece Burning Blood, a pretty fun fighter that actually is made by some of the people that made some of the old Budokai Tenkaichi games. It actually felt like that at some degrees, just the way everything's done. Still really fun. Once again, if you like One Piece, it may be worth checking out. I've got a full review for it on the channel if you're interested. One of my newest reviews, and my most viewed review, 7 Days to Die. I did not expect that review to do as well as it has, but it's 26,000 views or something by the time I did this video. Anyway, I had a lot of issues, mostly with this version. More so than the PC version, which I didn't play. I only played the PS4 version, and there's a lot of problems with the game. Star Wars Battlefront, I never got around to playing it. Bought this on a Black Friday sale. No, it was after that. It was a Gamefly sale. They had a Gamefly sale. It was for really cheap, and I had a coupon. So I was like, you know what? I'll pick up Battlefront finally. The physical release for Mega Man Legacy Collection. It comes with Mega Man's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, with some bonus added objectives or missions for you to accomplish as well. Biggest problem with this game, though, is just the fact that, besides the fact it doesn't have all the Mega Man games, which easily could have gone on it, didn't have a Platinum Trophy. One of the reasons I really didn't end up doing much with it. The Uncharted Collection that comes with Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 Remastered. This was another game sent to me by Lance and Nancy, which I wanted to play through it before 4 came out, which I just didn't get around to. I hope to play through it by the end of the year to play through all of them. I've already played through them before on the PS3 versions, but never got around to playing this version of it. I love the Uncharted series, especially 4 was fantastic. Gravity Rush Remastered, I just recently platinumed this a few months back. Really, really cool game, and I actually think it controls better on PS4 than it did on the Vita. I'm looking forward to the sequel that's coming out either later this year or early next year. Speaking of Uncharted, Uncharted 4, one of the best games of this year. In fact, this could be my favorite game of the year so far. Another limited run games. This is Oddworld, the Oddworld Abe's Odyssey new and tasty version. This was done by Limited Run Games. A little bit more available than some of the other limited run games as far as the amount of copies out, but still, of course, a limited game. I did an unboxing on the channel if you're interested. WWE 2K16, another this WWE game much better than 2K15, much better. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutants in Manhattan, such a disappointment. I wanted this game to be so good. Another game, if you're interested, there's a review if you want to see my opinion fully on it. But just disappointed by the end result with that. Hasbro Family Fun Pack. This is really cool. It comes with Risk, Monopoly Plus, which but also comes with Scrabble, which I really much enjoyed. But if you're one of those people that likes board games and stuff like that, it's worth having in the collection. It's not expensive by any means. You can get all the games individually, digitally, if you wanted to just get Scrabble or Risk or something like that. One of my favorite games of last year, Until Dawn. Great, great game. Horror game. Not everyone's cup of tea, fully get it, but very, very cool. A game that didn't get a huge release physically, but from Rising Star Games, Zombie Vikings. We played through this, or played through most of it on my live stream one night. Really fun, especially multiplayer. Toy Soldiers, War Chest, Hall of Fame Edition. Really cool game for what it is, with all the various different toys from the past. And it's a game that was actually released, or versions of it were older. Xbox 360 had games in the series, but it includes a lot of cool stuff in this particular version, including Masters of the Universe, G.I. Joe, and stuff like that, so still really cool. Mirror's Edge Catalyst, I loved this game. I think it's actually better in a lot of ways than the first Mirror's Edge game. I did another one that I did a full review for. The physical release for Resident Evil Origins Collection that comes with the PS4 versions of Resident Evil 1 Remaster and Resident Evil 0. Love Resident Evil, of course, I'm a big fan, and this is just a nice addition. I actually also have a Japanese version of the PS1, or Japanese version of the PlayStation 3 RE Remaster. That's what I was trying to say. Because that didn't get released here physically, even for PS3, it was only in Japan. But they released that, so it kind of negates it if you have both PS3 and 4. Another game that I recently picked up for cheap, Agatha Christie, The ABC Murders, does not have a platinum though, unfortunately. Ether 1, a game that does have a platinum, was free for Plus at one point, but this is the physical release that was done by Sodesco. Okay, next up, Little Big Planet 3, this is the actual box for it, I talked about it at the beginning of the video. Payday. This is Payday 2. I played it a bit. I didn't really get into it. Didn't really like it all that much. One of those purchases I kind of regret, but oh well. Snoopy's Grand Adventure, a game that I really wanted to love. Had this been like a $10 download-only title, I would have easily recommended it to people. Activision is a terrible publisher at this point. They're really money-hungry. They're one of the worst companies out there nowadays. I think that this and the Turtles and Mutants in Manhattan, had they not been full price released, I could have recommended them to more people. It's a really, really short game. It's a fun little platformer with Snoopy. Very disappointed that it was expensive as it is, because I'm sure if you can get it now for like $10, and you like little platformers, easy platformers, like a more casual, just throw in, pick up and play kind of thing, or if you're looking for a game for small kids, definitely a game worth checking out, especially if you can get it cheap. Here's my copy for MLB The Show 14. Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. Ugh. Ground Zeroes was very disappointing. Lego Marvel Superheroes. I don't have Lego Marvel Avengers yet, but I do have a platinum in that. Friends of mine and myself went through it. Here's the physical release for Tesla Grad. Another one from Sodesco. This is PAL only, I think. I don't know if Tesla Grad got a physical here. You can correct me down below. Evolve. Wow, this game bombed off bad once it came out. This is the Asian version of Devil May Cry 4 Remastered. Actually, one of the Devil May Cry games I actually really do enjoy. Unfortunately, this did not get a physical in the US, so I had to import it from the Asian market, which means it's in full English. Borderlands. This is the Handsome Collection. It came with pre-sequel and Borderlands 2. Guilty Gear X Erd Sign, a fun addition to the Guilty Gear series. Rabbids Invasion. Not a fan of the Rabbids games. I picked this up for cheap. Never opened it. Metro Redux, coming with both Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light Remastered. If you don't know, Metro 2033 was never released for the PlayStation 3. It was released for 360. They both originally were from PC. But still really, really cool games to check out. The release for Minecraft, the PlayStation 4 version. It's Minecraft. Sniper Elite 3. Battlefield 4. Pretty good game in the Battlefield series, and I'm actually looking forward to Battlefield 1 coming out later this year. My physical copy for Transformers: The Rise of Darkspark. I never got around to actually playing it. Just Dance 2014. That's all I'm saying. Is this the one that came with the wrong disc? Yeah, okay, so this is an empty box for Transformers: Rise of Darkspark. I ended up having to get 2 copies of the game. I ended up being able to sell one of the copies. I got an Xbox One copy and a PS4 box. That's why the box is here. So I ended up taking it out and ended up selling just the disc only to somebody. So I was able to get some of the money back. Actually, I think I got all the money back I spent on it because I got it for really cheap. Either way. Samurai Warriors 4. I showed Empires earlier, but this is the regular Samurai Warriors 4. J-Star Victory, or sorry, J-Stars Versus Plus. Fun little fighting game, similar to the One Piece game, Burning Blood, but I actually like that a lot better. Okay, next pile. I might as well get this out of the way too. You've been seeing it the whole time, but Final Fantasy Type 0 HD Remastered. This was the collector's edition for that. Still a very, very cool game in the Final Fantasy series. Shocked me with the blood and like violence early on in the game, but it's a little bit different. It was originally a PlayStation Portable title. Yeah, I think PSP. It got fan translated, and then as soon as it got fan translated and released, Square was like, "Oh, we're releasing it in the US now for PS4." Here is my steel copy of Onichimbara Z2KS, the Banana Split Edition. The weirdest name for a collector's edition of any kind ever, but here it is. Angry Birds Star Wars. Legend of K Anniversary Edition. Legend of K was a PS2 game. This is a remaster of that. I wanted to like it more than I did. It dragged way too much. The physical release for Wasteland 2 Director's Cut. I've heard much better, of course, on PC as expected, but it was one of those ones that, oh, I'm just getting a physical? You know what, I'll go ahead and get it. Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires. A game that I liked, but a lot of people didn't give it a chance. Murdered Soul Suspect. Really disappointed that the game didn't do better because the studio closed like as soon as the game came out because of just negative feedback and all. A game that ended up being a disappointment, but I'm actually willing to give the sequel a chance because it looks really good. Watch Dogs. Here is Pure Chess and Pure Pool, the other games from Play It. One of those just obscure things that got physical. Here's my sealed copy of Resident Evil Revelations 2. I actually have it both digitally and physically because the physical came out about a month after the digital version, and being a diehard Resident Evil fan, I just couldn't wait that long. Rugby 2015. It's a rugby game. Surprisingly, there's a lot of rugby games on the PS4. Killzone Shadowfall. This was a launch title for the system. Pretty fun though. Last of Us Remastered, my favorite video game of all time. I've talked about it at great length. I love Last of Us. I recommend it. If you've never played it, play Last of Us. It's just an absolutely amazing game. In fact, even if you don't like the style of gameplay it is, I recommend checking out on YouTube that somebody put all the cutscenes, edit it together to make it like a more full-length film. I would even recommend just watching that because it's that great, well told of a story. The story at times may be a bit cliche with being the post-apocalyptic epidemic kind of thing, but the way it's told and acted is so phenomenal that it outshines what could have been just a mediocre plot. But Last of Us, my favorite video game of all time. Lego Hobbit, another Lego game, not much more to say. Assassin's Creed 4, this is the PS4 version, but this is the Steelbook for the collector's edition for the PS3. Because unfortunately, PS4 version, because it came out a month later, did not get a collector's edition. This is the box for the Final Fantasy Type O HD game. This is the Steelbook for that. The Steelbook for Mortal Kombat 10. Love Steelbooks. Sucker for Steelbooks. And here's the Steelbook for Order 1886. I know a lot of people hated that game. I thought it was pretty good. I know I'm in a minority in that. Was it great? No, but it was not nearly as bad as some people were putting out. Here is Sleeping Dogs, the Definitive Edition, another open world game that I really very much liked. It came with an art book attachment. Square Enix did this with a few of their releases, including this, Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and I think 2.5 as well as Final Fantasy X 10-2 for the PS3. This was actually gifted to me and given to me by my friend Zero, who recently passed away, so this kind of will always mean something to me regardless, and I love the game anyway, so that was really cool. Okay, last pile now. We have first up Terraria, the physical release for Terraria. A lot of people love it. I'm not like really into that whole thing. Zombie Army Trilogy, which is another game that got released here, but wasn't going to come out physically, and then finally did months after I had already got it. Omega Quintet, a JRPG that is featuring pop idols as the main characters. Very interesting concept. My friend Brian played through it and really liked it. Dying Light, a game that I very much did not enjoy. I thought it was a lackluster story. I hated the characters in it. Gameplay was okay. It was not bad, but it was not great either. Very similar, because made by the same people as Dead Island, which is a series I didn't really like all that much. Here's the regular box for Witcher 3 Wild Hunt with the slipcover with it. I showed the steelbook earlier. The physical release for The Escapist. I don't know if this got a physical release here in the US. They've also done a physical release in Europe, which I haven't picked up yet, The Escapist Walking Dead edition, which is something I definitely want to get a hold of. The only other PAL game I don't have that I really want is the physical for Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, which came out here digitally for the remastered PS4 versions of them, but didn't get a physical release, unfortunately. Just Dance 2015. I still need to pick up Just Dance 2016. Oh god. Another launch title, Knack. This is one of the first games I got for my PS4, of course. It was extremely disappointing in the long run. Plants vs. Zombie Garden Warfare. Tomb Raider, the Definitive Edition. I played through this on my PS3. Infamously, I traded it in after my save data got corrupted in it, so I couldn't platinum the game. I got so mad at that point, I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to sell it. I ended up trading in and actually got Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, because I didn't have the actual other money for that game at the time. But still, it's a really good game. I'm looking forward to the PS4 version finally coming out for Tomb Raider, because it was an Xbox One Tampa exclusive that came out last year. I've heard a lot of good things, but I was like, I'm not going to buy a system just for that. NBA 2K14 and FIFA 14. Gianna Sisters, Twisted Dreams Director's Cut. This did get a US release eventually down the road as well from Sodesco, but this is the PAL release. If you're wondering, if you didn't already know, PAL games work fine in the US PS4. There's no issues whatsoever. Dynasty Warriors 8 Complete Edition. This game, Japanese only release, is I think the world record for the longest name of a game ever. I know it's hard to see, but we actually did a little video for this on my YouTube channel a long time ago. But this whole giant box of text here is the title of the game. It translates to like My Summer, High School, blah blah blah, something like that, around that. It's a game that became a little bit infamous when it first came out because it has a pose feature where you can pose the in-game models and take pictures of them, as well as one of the things which isn't forced on you at all during the gameplay. It's just something you can do, is do like kind of a Metal Gear Solid sneaking thing where you take panty shots of the girls in the school. So there's a number of reasons why I'm sure this never made it over the US shores, but I ended up importing it because of all the little buzz going about it when it first came out. It's not that great. I wish, if it was English, I would have probably enjoyed it a lot more. But I was able to, there's a nice written guide for it available, if you ever wanted to import it yourself. Injustice God is Among Us, the Gold Edition. Very cool game, made by the same people that did Mortal Kombat. Need for Speed Rivals. Call of Duty Advanced. It's Advanced Warfare, not just Advanced, it is Advanced. Much better. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. This was the Day Zero Edition, which I did not buy on launch. I bought it months and months later. Anyway, Pinball Arcade. Arcania, the Complete Tale, which is Arcania Gothic 4 Remastered, basically. Nordic Games is the publisher for this. Another one that's been publishing some weird offshoots. They did this, Legend of K, and I think Book of Unwritten Tales as well. Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate. And last but not least, Blade Storm Nightmare, which is a remaster and additional stuff added to it for Blade Storm, which was a PlayStation 3 game. It's a Dynasty Warriors style game with the English and French. So there we go. That is my PlayStation 4 collection as it is currently. I think that's everything for it. There are some games that I have digitally that I don't have physical copies for, unfortunately. WWE 2K15, Batman Arkham Knight. The reason I ended up doing that is because I got it actually cheaper for digitally, as well as a free season pass for helping out a friend who had an Xbox One, but got a free digital code for Arkham Knight, so I ended up doing a swap thing, and I got that version. So I don't have that physically. And there's a few other stuff I'm missing. There's still a few games I don't have in my collection that I would love to have. What are your favorite PS4 games? If you watch this whole video, if you have a collection, let me know how your PS4 collection's going. What's the rarest or most interesting items that you've picked up for your PS4 collection? But for those who did end up watching this entire thing, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Michael Hawkins, aka Drunken Ninja. He actually wanted to see this video happen, so I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you watched it and it lived up to the standards of my previous terrible collection video. Hope this one went a little bit smoother than the last one. I know I still talked a lot, but either way, guys, thank you so much for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.